Sakamoto Days is a series that's recently become one of my absolute favorites to read within Shonen Jump, and while I still have yet to catch up on the series, I finally understand why this series is definitely one of the best in the magazine right now. It's a series that initially I hadn't paid much mind to. I was just so distracted by so many of my other long-standing favorites like My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen. It was one of those things that had just always kind of been in the background that I never paid much mind to. And with all those other series ending and me looking for new things to read, I finally decided to give Sakamoto Days a chance. And I've got to say, I couldn't be happier that I did. And with the anime adaptation finally here and more eyes than ever on the series, I wanted to make this video recommending the series to anybody who hasn't watched it yet. So, sit back, relax, and hopefully I can convince you that Sakamoto Days slaps.
There he is, the legendary assassin, Taro Sakamoto.
Before we continue on with the video though, let's start off with a brief plot synopsis. Sakamoto Days follows the story of Sakamoto Taro, a man who was once considered to be the greatest hitman of all time. All criminals feared him, all of his fellow hitmen wanted to be him, and he had achieved a level of power, fame, and success in the underworld that no one before him ever had. But one day, as he was returning home from a job, he met a beautiful woman working in a convenience store named Aoi. He would fall in love with her, get married, start a family, and leave his fame and glory behind, choosing to live an honest, simple life as a convenience store owner. Years later, Sakamoto would get out of shape and enjoy a quiet, peaceful, retired life with his new family. But one day, his past as a hitman would catch up to him when a bounty of 1 billion yen is placed upon his head, and it's up to Sakamoto to dust off all of his old skills and protect his newfound peaceful existence. It's a simple plot to be sure, but it's within this simple plot and its stellar execution that Sakamoto Days stands apart as one of the best series in Shonen Jump. And as I said in my last video, I'm going to be analyzing it using the lens provided to us by Hirohiko Araki in his book Manga in Theory and Practice, where he says that manga is made up of 4 fundamental elements: characters, stories, settings, and themes. And I'm going to start off with the characters, as I think that's definitely the biggest contributing factor to why Sakamoto Days is such a great series. And of course, it would be criminal not to start off with Sakamoto himself, as he's a large contributor to the series' success. He's just a delightful main character, and every moment he's on screen, you're having a good time. Sakamoto is a character who has a very broad and multifaceted appeal. He's effortlessly cool, funny, relatable, but also warm and very wholesome. I think the scene that best exemplifies why Sakamoto works as a character and what makes him very unique, not just within the pages of Shonen Jump, but in other characters in his similar retired badass archetype, is shown off to us in Chapter 2 of the manga and I believe also Episode 2 of the anime, where Sakamoto remembers a Christmas date that he has with his wife Aoi, where he bought her a Christmas present. But she notices that both his hands and his face are covered in blood, to which she questions if he had to kill somebody to buy that present. Sakamoto very humorously responds that he had to work in order to earn enough money to buy her a present, but Aoi is not having it. She rejects his blood-stained present and tells him that if he can't leave his hitman ways behind, they can't be together. And after almost accidentally falling to her death and having to be rescued by Sakamoto, she tells him that the same desperation that he felt to save her is the same way other people feel when he takes the lives of someone that they care about, and that's why he should stop killing people. She tells him that if they're going to be together, he has to leave his hitman ways behind and dedicate his life to helping people instead. And it was in this moment where Sakamoto would truly change forever as a person. And what's interesting about Sakamoto is that unlike most retired badass character types you see like John Wick or I'm sure a myriad of others I can't think of, Yuto Suzuki does not portray Sakamoto as having lost his glory days or being less than or a shell of his former self. It's portrayed as an improvement. Sakamoto is not the same man that he was. He's warm, he's kind, and he's protective of not just those he cares about, but even just anybody who happens to be in need. Sakamoto goes out of his way to help people who have nothing to do with them. He's just a genuinely loving and kind man who wants to help people. and make their lives better. He doesn't wish to reclaim his glory days or let everybody know that he still got it. None of that matters to him anymore. He's fully left that life behind and doesn't even think about it much anymore, except for when it happens to come up. But he does still have remnants of his old self, which is shown to us through his transformation to his skinny form, an ability where Sakamoto can burn through all of his fat in a near instant and return to a muscular form much closer to his prime in strength, though Sakamoto is no slouch even in his fat form either. As we've seen numerous times, Sakamoto absolutely dominating assassins who are still in their prime, even in his fat form. And while as the series would go on, Sakamoto spends more and more time in his skinny form as the stakes get higher, showing that the opponents are getting more serious and he has to revert to some of his old ways. He never forgets the man that he now is. He never loses that kindness and the love he has for his family and his friends and those around him. And it's that defines him and makes him such a spectacular main character. But he's not the only great character the series has to offer. Shin is also a great character in his own right. He's a character who provides much more of a traditional progression in terms of Shonen Jump main characters, as while he's certainly not a weak fighter, he's nowhere near as powerful as Sakamoto, who's already reached his prime and finished his original story pretty much. And Shin's story sees him leaving his assassin life behind and trying to become more like Sakamoto. He idolizes him and looks up to him, and the two of them have a fantastic dynamic together. They really have perfect chemistry, both as characters in funny moments and wholesome moments, but also in action scenes as well. Sakamoto and Shin put in work, and Shin also gets a lot of excellent character development in his own right. And honestly, you just want to see him reach Sakamoto's level of strength. You want to see him live up to his hero and become just as skilled as he is someday. Become the next Sakamoto. One who didn't spend so much of his life being cold and heartless. One who could be kind but also strong from the jump. And honestly, man, he's just a really likable character. He just freaking rocks. And while I could talk about so many of the other characters in the series like Lou and Heisuke, and believe me, I'd love to talk about Heisuke because I absolutely adore this dude. That's my goat right there. This video would just be way too long. So instead, the last characters we're going to talk about before moving on has got to be the group of characters that are by far the most influential group of characters in the series besides Sakamoto and his family and friends themselves. The Japanese Association of Assassins, group of strongest fighters responsible for keeping peace within the assassin world, the Order. These guys are a classic group of Shonen Jump characters who all have unique character designs and are extremely strong. Think your Yonko, your Warlords, your Akatsuki, you know them. The Order is that classic trope executed to perfection. These guys are freaking awesome. Whenever the Order are on screen, you know exciting shit is about to go down. These guys mean business, and they all have their own specific appeal, whether it be the aloof and laid-back, almost Gojo-like nature of Nagamo, or the hilarious comedic duo of Osaragi and Shishiba. They all have a unique appeal and are all awesome in their own right. And while I'd love to talk about each of them in detail, I'm only going to mention my favorites of them, as again, the video would just simply be too long. As I said, Shishiba and Osaragi definitely have to be my favorite. They're just perfect together. They're almost like a weird inverse of Sakamoto and Shin, where Osaragi is the newest member of the Order, so she's kind of inexperienced. Not that she's unskilled, as she's a terrifyingly powerful fighter, but she's just hilarious because she'll have these moments of just like brutal killing where she just annihilates somebody horribly, like cuts two people's heads off, or just causes a crazy amount of wanton destruction. And then she's just like very aloof, and she looks at Sakamoto and she's like, oh, he's a cute little teddy bear. She's hilarious, and Shishiba goes perfectly with her. He's actually probably one of the most normal members of the Order. He's kind of just an assassin, but not in a bad way. He's definitely the straight man who kind of balances out their dynamic, and them sparking off each other is always a good time. But my favorite member of the Order, and honestly, maybe my favorite character in the series that isn't Sakamoto himself, has got to be Kanaguri, a member of the Order and probably one of the craziest characters I've seen in anything in a long time. He seems like he'd be more at home in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure than Sakamoto Days. He is a complete wacko. His whole thing is that he's a movie director, And his favorite subject to film is killing, and makes movies about killing. So the whole time he kills people, he has a camera with him recording the entire thing. And the first time we ever see him, he cuts the heads off of a group of people in one fell swoop using a director's board, or whatever these things are called. I remember reading that for the first time. My jaw was on the floor. I had never seen anything like that. Plus, just look at this dude. Look at this character design. His scarf is he's got a film reel scarf, and he has a projector wheel shaved into the side of his head. I've never seen a character that looks like this. But I think what really makes the series so good is the plot itself, as Sakamoto Days has a very interesting and well balanced story structure. While there is plenty of action in the early chapters, a lot of them focus on wholesome slice of life moments involving Sakamoto, Shin, Lu, and Sakamoto's wife and daughter, and just their everyday lives working at Sakamoto's convenience store. It's very wholesome and sweet and honestly relaxing. It's a manga that you can read and you feel like you're having a good time every time you read it. It's not heavy, it's not dark, it's something that you can read to have fun. And I guarantee you, you will always have fun reading it. Whether it's in these down to earth, slice of life moments or the moments of intense action and drama, Sakamoto Days is a series that has a broad appeal. And maybe it's just me, maybe this series just appeals to my sense of humor, but I think Sakamoto Days is absolutely hilarious. This series never fails to make me laugh. So many of the gags just land so well. Like, I'm laughing just thinking about it. This scene of Sakamoto when his wife finds out that he was in a fight and she's mad at him. Just the look on his face kills me every single time. But it's that balance between humor, action, slice of life, and drama that makes Sakamoto's story a very balanced and very refreshing and enjoyable experience. I've never really seen another story a lot like it, and it's just so much fun. But of course, enough about all this. What you probably really want to hear about is how good are the fights. And let me tell you, the fights in Sakamoto Days are crazy. Sakamoto Days fights, honestly, I could hear them being touted as the best fights within Shonen Jump currently, and maybe in the last couple of years. Every single one of them has such a sense of speed and power that just oozes through on every page. Even in the first chapter, when Sakamoto kicks Shin through two shelves, you feel the force behind that kick. You can just imagine the excruciating pain Shin must be in after getting hit with an attack like that. And every single fight scene maintains this level of brutality. But it's the way that Yuto Suzuki gives all the characters unique fighting styles, unique weapons and abilities and tools that makes the fights so varied. And Sakamoto himself is also a reason why the fights are so entertaining. Sakamoto is the type of character who's just as deadly with an assault rifle or a combat knife as he is with a pin. This dude could use anything as a weapon. There's literally a fight scene where Sakamoto beats a dude's ass with a sticker, a freaking pen, and a coupon. But the fights only escalate in terms of creativity and spectacle as the series goes on. I mean, again, to go back to one of my earlier examples, Kanaguri cuts the heads off of a group of people using a sharpened director's board. That's insane. I've never seen anything like that, nor have I ever even imagined anything like that in my entire life. That's awesome. Yuto Suzuki just knows how to make an amazingly creative and inventive action set piece. And not only are they spectacular from a creative standpoint, he executes them so well because of his incredible paneling. Fights in Sakamoto Days are so easy to follow. They're rarely ever convoluted or messy where you look at them and you just think, man, what the heck am I even reading? What's even going on? Rarely is that ever going to happen. I'd also like to touch briefly on the art style, as I think Yuto Suzuki's art style is just fantastic. The series starts off with a kind of simple, very cartoony art style in the beginning, kind of to reinforce the down-to-earth mood the series has. But as it goes on, it gradually becomes more serious, more detailed, less cartoony, to reflect the change in tone of the story. And honestly, both of them look really good. I don't have a preference. But Overall, though, I think that Sakamoto Days is a fantastic series. It's a series that effortlessly blends slice of life, wholesome fun, hilarious jokes, and incredibly badass action into a very unique package of a series that I guarantee you won't read and not have fun and not come away from feeling entertained. And whether you choose to read or watch it, I think your time would definitely be well spent hanging out with Sakamoto and his family at their convenience store. But that's just my opinion. If you tell me what you think about Sakamoto Days in the comments below. If you haven't already tried the series out, will you be giving it a try? And if you already do like the series, let me know what your favorite thing or favorite character in the series is. I'll see you guys next time.